Hello everyone, welcome back again to my channel. Thanks for tuning in. In today's video, I'll be showing you guys two ways you can make oil-based chocolate cake with egg and without egg. So for the recipe without eggs, we measure out first 125 grams of all-purpose flour, 20 grams of unsweetened cocoa powder, 1/4 teaspoon baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon baking powder, half teaspoon or 1/2 teaspoon cinnamon powder. So once you are done adding all this, go ahead and mix everything thoroughly. After mixing, you sift the flour mixture or the dry ingredients and then set them aside or set it aside. Then in a separate bowl, you measure out 60 grams of vegetable oil, 1/8 teaspoon of salt, 80 grams of granulated or caster sugar, anyone that you want to use is fine, 1 teaspoon of chocolate flavor and 1 teaspoon of vanilla flavor. I added also cocoa flavor to this, so you can also add it. It also boosts the taste of your cake. Yeah, so once you are done adding that, you go ahead and mix everything thoroughly. Okay, mix everything very well. Now adding 1 teaspoon of honey, although this is optional if you don't want to add it. Okay, just add 1 teaspoon of honey. It also adds the taste of this cake. Okay, so once you are done adding the honey, mix everything thoroughly, and then we're going to be adding the rest of the ingredients. Now adding the flour. So you're going to be adding the flour in little batches. Okay, so once you add the flour, you discover that the whole batter will look a little bit dry. At this point, you're going to mix the batter with hot or boiled water. So you add hot water into this so that everything is going to mix very well. So for this recipe, I used about 150 grams of hot water, added the hot water and mix to form my batter. So once everything is mixed, you set this aside. Now to a separate plate, you measure out 10 gram of chocolate chip. Okay, I'm supposed to use the dark chocolate, but I don't have that at the moment. That's why I use the white chocolate. So you dissolve this or you melt this white chocolate or this chocolate chip, and then you add it into the batter. Okay, so you can dissolve it with 3 tablespoons of water, then you add it into the batter and mix everything thoroughly. So now our batter is ready. The next thing to do is to grease your baking pan or your cake pan. Line the bottom of the pan or the inside of the pan with a baking paper, then transfer the batter into the greased baking pan lined with the baking paper. So you can use 5 to 6 or 6 inches pan for this recipe. Tap the base of the pan on your work surface and bake in your preheated oven. So I baked this in my preheated oven at 160 degrees C for 50 to 60 minutes. Okay, now when the cake comes out, you have to transfer on a cooling rack and let it cool down completely. And when the cake is completely cool, make sure you wrap it up maybe in a cling film or in a Ziploc bag or just a nylon proof bag. You wrap it thoroughly and keep it aside. This will help to keep the cake moist and delicious. The second recipe is the one with egg. So to make this recipe, you measure out 80 grams of vegetable oil, 80 grams of granulated or caster sugar, 1 teaspoon of chocolate flavor, 1 teaspoon of vanilla flavor, 1/8 teaspoon of salt, and half teaspoon of cinnamon powder. So we measure all these in the mixing bowl, and like always, I will also be using my hand whisk to mix this, but feel free to use your electric mixer and all that. If you have it, you can use it to mix this. Okay, so once that is mixed, you keep it aside. Now to a separate bowl or a plate, you break in 60-gram whole egg. Okay, now you try and separate the yolks from the albumen or the egg yellow from the egg white. Okay, so you set the egg white aside and then add the egg yolk or the egg yellow into the vegetable oil mixture. Yeah, so use the hand whisk and mix everything together to make sure that everything mix so well. Pardon my English. So make sure everything mix so well, and once that is done, you keep it aside. Now to the flour, we have here 150 grams of all-purpose flour. Add in 20 grams of unsweetened cocoa powder, 1 teaspoon baking powder, and 1/8 teaspoon baking soda. Okay, so add this into the flour, mix everything thoroughly, sift and set aside. Now gradually start adding the flour into the vegetable oil sugar mixture that you made. So you start adding the flour into this mixture. While you are doing this, make sure that your hot water is boiling or your water is boiling, yeah, because you'll be needing this hot water to make the final mixture. Okay. Now is the time. So you add in 120 grams of boiled or hot water into the mixture of the flour and the vegetable oil sugar mixture. So you add the hot water and mix everything thoroughly. So once you have this batter almost ready, now dissolve about 10 grams of chocolate chip with 3 tablespoons of boiled water. Okay, so like I said, I do not have the dark chocolate. That was why I couldn't use it. So if you have the dark chocolate, it's fine, you can use that. So you dissolve this chocolate with the water, make sure everything dissolves thoroughly or properly. Yeah. Add the melted chocolate into the batter you have already made, and then mix everything thoroughly and set aside. Next thing to do is to whip the egg white. The egg white, remember the egg white that we kept aside? Yeah. So that egg white, you're going to whip this egg white till stiff peak. Okay. You whip the egg white till stiff peak, and then once that is done, we'll add this back into the batter. So once you add the egg white into the batter, you fold in the egg white thoroughly, and our cake batter is ready for us to bake. Transfer the cake batter into 6 inches grease baking round pan. So this gave me about 500-gram butter. The first one we did gave me about 470 or 480 grams butter, I think so. So this one gave me about 500-gram butter. You tap the base on your work surface and then bake. So I baked this in my preheated oven at 160 degrees for 50 minutes. Okay, transfer on the baking rack and let the cake cool down completely. So once the cake is cooled, like I said, wrap it up, okay, and keep it aside so that it's going to cool down, and also the moisture content of the cake will be there, okay, so that the cake will not dry out and the flavor and taste will come out so good. Believe me, when you try any of these two recipes, you are going to love the outcome. It's so moist and delicious and tastes so good. And the good part of it is that it's very fluffy, and also it gives you good yield. So I will want you to try this recipe and let me know in the comment section how any of this recipe turned out for you. Whichever one that you have tried, let me know in the comment section, because I know these recipes will sure work out for you. So this is the one without egg, and this is the one with egg. Thanks for watching, and see you in my next video. Bye bye.